Hi Nick.
Hello, how are you?
Welcome back to Linea Rock
Thank you.
and to Milan, of
Thank
course.
you. Thank you.
So you're here to present a new Gotthard album, which is coming out on April 7th, is that correct?
April. I thought it was April 4th, but
Okay.
you know, yeah.
In between April 4th.
And somewhere there.
Okay,
Close
somewhere
enough.
there.
Yeah.
Okay, the beginning of April.
Yeah.
So basically for you, Nick, it has been like 3 years non-stop since you joined the band. So how do you feel? And are you still full of enthusiasm or a bit tired?
Yeah, no, I mean it's yeah, like you said, I mean it's been three years now, and I think now I can actually sort of, you know, now it feels a little bit more routine now. You know, I think we've, you know, now on this second album that we sort of spent you know sort of most of the year in the studio recording, and yeah, it's been yeah, a bit more relaxed than the last time. I mean, the first album that we did together was you know, we had to do so much in such a small amount of time between, you know, writing an album, recording the album, touring around the world, and doing all this sort of in 1 year. You know, was with all the pressure, all the sort of added pressure as well. So it was definitely now it's a bit more sort of calm. You know.
Let's start from the title first. Actually, it's Bang. We didn't say it already. And like Firebird, these are two titles that are very strong and then has something to do with, you know, fire and action.
Yeah.
Is that, I mean, done on purpose, or is it?
Absolutely. You know, we wanted to come out with a bang.
Okay.
So, sort of the idea. Yeah.
That was the idea. This album sounds very strong, as we already said, but it's also a bit darker than the previous one in the sound and in the themes, but there's hope. I mean, in a modern way, in a sense. In songs like, you know, Get Up and Move or Spread Your Wings, but the mood in the sound seems darker. Is that a reflection of the times that we're living? Is that something to do with your inspiration? What happened?
I'm not sure. I mean, in a lot of ways, I mean, the sounds just sort of happened as they happened. You know, I mean, it's kind of it's an album where really there isn't sort of one song that's representative of the album in a sense. They're all very different, you know, and I think we just kind of put everything together, and it ended up sounding the way that it did. I don't know if it sounds darker than the previous one. I'm not sure. But I mean, the themes are always the sort of similar themes that we talk about. You know, I mean, it's most of it is life in general. You know, going from in a way, yeah, going from love to death. I mean, you know, and everything in between. You know, going from highs to lows to highs. You know, so there's a good mixture of everything really. Yeah.
You know, what I meant with darker is also, you know, a bit maybe deeper, and there are maybe the songs you have to listen to them more than once to get, you know, get them on your mind.
Okay.
With Starlight, it was like immediately.
Okay.
And that's what I
I
meant.
see what you mean. Yeah.
Something like that.
Hard to say. It's definitely a richer album, I think. You know, we experimented a lot more on this one.
Did you work any differently also in the studio?
We worked. No. We pretty much worked in the same way, but we sort of this because we knew each other a lot better musically, and I mean personally as well. But because we knew each other better personally, I suppose we wrote this album a lot more for my voice as well. Okay. So this was sort of a bit of a difference than the last time, where the last time we really just, you know, it was like a blind date in a sense. You know, we just had to just kind of get in there, run and make it, you know. So this time we had a bit more time to really explore my voice a bit more as well, you know, really use the lower range and actually also experiment with the songs in themselves as well. You know, I think we pushed the limits a little bit further. You know, we experimented a bit more. You know, we allowed ourselves to kind of do that a bit more, and it's and also, I mean, in a lot of ways, Gotthard's always been a band that has had, you know, a lot of different sort of styles within the same record, you know, and we've sort of exaggerated that a little bit more even this time.
Which was the idea, the original idea, when you entered, you know, the studio and you started composition this time? I mean, it was just simply, you know, okay, we have to do another album, or you had a different vision this time? We want to do this, we want to do that. Actually, you already mentioned you are maybe tighter as a band now, and you feel maybe more confident because you've been in the band quite a long time, you toured together. So how different was this experience for you?
I mean, I think, you know, we just wanted to make a great album. You know, it's like it's I think it's, you know, you never know what you're going to end up with. You know, you just try your best, and I mean, we knew that in a way it's Gotthard's second album. You know, so and second albums are always hard to write. You know, and I think we're lucky in a sense that that sort of the three main songwriters, you know, being Leo, Freddie and I, we all have our kind of different tastes a little bit, you know, so there's always a lot of ideas and a lot of things that come in, you know, that sort of creates this this sort of mixture of different styles in a sense. So I think we just really went in to do the best that we could, but also with a little bit in mind to push the boundaries a little bit. You know, we knew we wanted to do something a bit bigger. Okay. You know, and especially for a song like Thank You, you know, that's sort of over 10-minute song, which the band's never done before. You know, and just wanted to kind of, you know, again, do something a little bit different than the band wouldn't normally do. Yeah.
Since you mentioned Thank You, it's a very special song. It's dedicated to. You want to tell us?
Well, it's actually an idea from Leo that he wanted to. It was to a thank you song. It's to thank all the mothers in the world, in a sense, but also particularly to thank his mother, who was, you know, who got really sick and ended up passing away, and so it's sort of a song that really grew from, because I mean, in the beginning it was just an acoustic song, really just one guitar, one voice. It was a much shorter song, you know, and it was really written at the same time as that was progressing sort of with what was happening with Leo's mother. So it was all happening at the same time, you know, and then the song just grew. It took a kind of a life of its own, and just really developed. Yeah.
Did you work on the lyrics together on that song, you and Leo? Or
Yeah. Well, Leo had the idea of the we worked on it together. Yeah.
You feel more. Let's say, do you feel better when you compose with Freddie, or you have with Leo a special relation? What is it? I mean, it's the combination of all you three. I mean, you and Freddie are French, in a sense. He is Italian, so that's actually a very particular mixture, and seems it works, but.
But the thing is, we generally do everything together, you know. So, you know, everybody has their strengths in a sense, you know, and we really pull that together. The only one that, well, I think it's on the album really. The only one that I did with Freddie was Maybe. And then Thank You that I did with Leo.
So the other ones
in a sense, you know, well, for the beginning of the song anyway, you know, and then obviously, you know, but generally it's always together, you know.
Did you compose any of the songs during the previous tour, or it was like, when I'm touring, I'm going to concentrate on it, and then it's going to become, you know, time for a new record? What happened? Did you write anything on the road?
We generally don't. We don't really write anything on the road generally. I mean, there might be you know, some play around with a riff maybe on, you know, during sound check or something, but generally it's because you've really got, for us, we really, you know, you've got to change the chip, you know. It's like, okay, now we're in touring mode, or now we're in whatever mode that you're in, you know. So we really sort of do one thing at a time, you know. But there was one song that we had already from the Firebirth sessions, which was Red on a Sleeve.
Okay.
That was one that we'd never sort of finished in time for the Firebirth album, and so we that's the first one we did when we started the Bang sessions, really.
So it's not a leftover, but it simply came
because
too late for the other album.
Yeah, well, it just wasn't finished in time. You know,
Okay.
we had a deadline and we had to sort of do it there. So it was this one that was still had to, you know, we still had to finish. So we finished that one, and then actually we started on this song "Thank You." That was the first one that we actually sat down and started writing, and really it was just a very small song in the beginning, you know.
So as you mentioned, the songs are very different. It's a various album. So how difficult was to pick, you know, the single to choose, and is there any song that is your favorite at the moment?
It's always hard to say with the favourites, because we spent sort of, you know, a year in the studio writing it and recording it and everything. So it's I've had favourites, and then they change all the time, you know, as I've sort of already been through that. Feel What I Feel is one that I still really enjoy. Lyrically, it was a kind of a dream that I had that actually I've worked out that a lot of people have. You know, this sort of I'd sort of met the love of my life sort of thing, but in a dream, and you just feel this amazing kind of, you know, feeling, but it's not real. Obviously, it's just sort of you've made up, you know, person that you've made up in your mind. So it's just kind of weird. But a lot of people have this dream, you know, and I thought, oh, well, it'd be an interesting topic to do, and it just sort of I mean, it happened to be the first one that we put out, you know, because I suppose we, you know, it's sort of the democracy in the band, you know. Everyone kind of, you know, has their opinion, and we sort of came up with that one, and thought that it was, you know, a good balance of a sort of, you know, the softer and the harder parts, and also something that was a little bit different that we hadn't done before is sort of with vocally, you know, having such a low singing so low. Yeah. So we thought it could be cool to start with something a little bit different.
More bluesy.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many songs in total you worked on, and is there any songs coming out, you know, on the Japan edition or on CD singles?
Yeah. We have we recorded 16 songs actually.
Okay.
Recorded. So I think the Digipack version will have 15 songs, Jewel Case 13, and I think there's one more song that will either be for the Japan or iTunes or something. But yeah.
Okay. All original songs, no cover versions. Okay.
Yeah.
Nic, did you have complete freedom on writing the lyrics this time? You know, since, you know, Gotthard had a long career, they have their direction since the beginning. Did they give you complete freedom on writing? You know.
Yeah. I mean, it's really a team effort, you know. We with the main songwriters, I've always done that with them anyway, you know. I have my topics or my ideas, and or you know, or they have theirs as well, and sometimes, you know, while we're doing the music part, even when we're writing that, we already kind of maybe have an idea of a topic already, and then I'll go off and write it, you know. Okay. But it's absolute freedom.
Good. And what's the best and what's the worst memory of the last 2 years, or actually 3 if we count, you know, all? You count it all, you know, being in Gotthard.
Yeah. I think, I mean, one of the scariest memories, I would say, would be probably the first show that we ever did, you know. Okay. In South America, and I think that, you know, particularly the 5 minutes before before going on stage, just going, oh my God, what am I doing? What am I doing?
That's it. Now, you know, it's the time.
I must be insane. And I would say that the best, I don't know if there is one best moment, you know. There's been a lot of really good moments, you know, and I think one of the first times when I actually met the fans for the first time, you know, physically, we had a a red carpet event in which was the first actual, my first public sort of appearance, and we were at the Swiss Awards, and just sort of walking on I didn't sort of expect that, walking on the red carpet and just so many people, screaming the band's name and screaming my name, and just kind of, I just sort of realised, wow, it was just,
that was a strong welcome.
That was a really an incredible welcome, and I just sort of felt, really lucky to be there.
So that was a family feeling.
Absolutely.
From the very first moment.
Yeah. And
good.
That was great.
And which is the best comment or compliment that you received actually from a fan, maybe during a meet and greet or online?
That I'm the right guy for the job, and I. Whenever I've heard anybody sort of say that to me, it's a great feeling, to know that the fans think this, and absolutely. Yeah.
So Gotthard, as we already mentioned, a long career, 20 years behind them. Which colors or which elements you think you brought to the band, in your opinion, your personal opinion?
It's really hard to say. This is really tough because we do so much of the writing, and that in a lot of ways so much that we do is a team effort. It's hard for me to say, I brought this or I brought that, or it's. I know I have my sound a little bit, and it's a little bit of a different colour, but to be specific is really hard. Yeah.
Okay. On the record, there was also a duet.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to tell us something about it? Why did you choose that voice, that particular voice? That it's not so popular, actually, not so famous, actually, in Europe.
Yeah.
So you want to tell us more about it, the title of the songs and everything?
A song called Maybe, and we actually we did a duet, but it wasn't planned that way at all. We initially just needed. We always have extra people come in to do backing vocals and things, and a friend of ours said, "Oh look, I know this really good singer. She lives in Lugano. She's an American girl, and she's a music teacher. So not famous person, really.
Okay.
And she when she was actually singing on the song, she accidentally sang on a bit that she wasn't supposed to sing, and sort of had her voice on a completely different section. And we just thought it sounded great. We thought it sounds fantastic. It's like, wow, and it sort of mixed really well with my voice, and we thought, hey, why don't we just let's try a duet? Let's see if it sounds good, and it was great. We everybody loved the sound, and everybody thought, oh well, it sort of brings something extra to the song. It makes the song better somehow. So we just kept it, really. So.
Did you already figure which songs are going to work the best live from this new record, Bang?
It's hard actually, because there's a lot of songs on this album that we know could be really good live. Would sort of translate well live. So it's going to be difficult. It's good. We're just starting that now. We're just starting to look at what we're going to do and what we're going to pick. So.
Okay. And how would you describe Bang's value within Gotthard discography?
It's I would say it's definitely something a little bit different. I heard Leo say in a lot of interviews that he thinks it's one of the best Gotthard albums, if not the best, for him. He really loves this album. I think it's great too. I'm really happy with the amount of sort of different colours there are on this album, and the fact that we pushed the boundaries a little bit and did some things that Gotthard wouldn't necessarily do normally, you know.
Which sometimes can be a risk, you know,
yeah.
especially for the die-hard fans.
Yeah.
What do you expect from it?
Absolutely, but I think we still kept the Gotthard essence anyway. I mean, we kept the sound. It's still very Gotthard, you know. But we just sort of, you know, push it here a little, push it there, you know, just kind of, yeah.
And how would you explain why Yellow House Studio and Ronald Brent hands, let's say, are so vital and important, you know, in the Gotthard sound, in the Gotthard world?
Well, I mean, Yellow House Studio, you know, Leo's studio has, I mean, the band has done a lot of albums there, you know, so it's got a history in that sense. And a lot of albums, you know, a lot of Gotthard albums have been written there and recorded there. So it just sort of seems natural to keep doing that, you know. And Ronald obviously has worked on a few albums as well. He was actually on the list as well as for producing the album. So we had a few people on the list, but he couldn't. We just sort of had different timings, so he couldn't do it. But we're really glad that he was able to mix the album as well. And so we had you know, Charlie Bauerfeind on co-producing with Leo. Which was great, you know, great colour, a great person to work with, and we you know, he was sort of more on the metal side, and then you've got Leo that's more on the classic rock side. So it was a really good blend, you know, instead of sort of having two people that are, you know, doing the exact same thing, you know. So, and then having Ronald Brent as the kind of third colour in there as well. So it's the combination of the three was we're really happy with it. Yeah.
Since the Yellow House Studio is actually in Leo's home, which is the reaction of his wife while you're there all the time recording records? That's the funny part of it.
Yeah, not those guys again. It's like, you know, never any privacy. Yeah, it's true. You know, we're always, we're kind of always at you know.
Because when you're home, you can work, you know, through the night, and you don't have, you know, timing schedule. And
but that's it. Yeah, we kind of we squat Leo's house, you know. So it's
okay. How this experience with Gotthard stands out from everything you've done before? Since you've been an artist before, you have a long career as well yourself. How different is this time?
I mean, I've never done anything quite as intense, you know. It's there's so much to do constantly, you know. It just sort of never stops, you know. It's been. I was able to take for the first time 5 weeks off, you know, where I actually went back to Australia.
After 3 years.
yeah. So I went back to Australia and sort of organised my stuff that I'd left behind 3 years ago, and you know, all this. But it's just incredibly intense, you know. There's one thing after another, and it really never ends, you know. You do the sort of circle, you know, from writing an album to recording it to then doing all, you know, things like video clips and then doing all the promotional stuff, and then you start playing, you're on the road, and then it sort of starts again, you know, and then you start the next album, and there's always a lot to do, you know, and so yeah, the intensity, I would say, you know, is the biggest difference, and I mean the size of the size of the crowds that we play to as well, you know.
At the moment, you feel more European or still a lot Australian? Now that you work a lot here, and
I mean, I've always felt Swiss, you know. I mean, I am Swiss, you know. But of course, I mean, I spent a good, you know, probably more than half of my life in Australia. Yeah. So I still have a big connection there as well. Yeah.
And what's typically Swiss and what's typically Australian in your behavior?
Oh, I can't tell you that.
Okay, that's a secret. Okay, we can understand. So you didn't work on the set list for the next tour?
We're just starting.
Not yet?
Just
okay, you're starting now. So you don't know how many old classics will be brought in? Will be a different set list than the last time? I mean, did you maybe pick any other songs and tell to the guys, you know, I would like to sing this, I would like to sing that?
There might be a couple of different things. There might be a couple of different things. But I mean there's the classics that people want to hear. You know, that we have to keep doing, that we're happy to keep doing.
Yeah.
And obviously now with 2 albums that I've been on, so we will have a little bit more of that. Obviously, there are some songs on Firebirth that we have to do as well, and obviously some of the new ones that we're going to do, and but there'll still be a lot of the classics, which that's I mean there's 20 years of over 20 years of career there, so there's a lot of, as you know, there's a lot of classics that we have to do. So.
I'm sure that one classic that is going to be there maybe forever is One Life, One Soul, which is one of the best Gotthard songs ever, and one of the best ballads I've ever heard in my life. And how does it feel for you to sing that particular song every night, since it was, it's Steve Lee.
Yeah.
Purely Steve Lee, that song. So how does it feel for you?
It's actually one of my favorite ones to do. I really enjoy doing it. I suppose it's a certain emotional moment there that's it's pretty magical actually, and I really enjoy doing that one. It's and on the sort of the heavier side, it's always been between. Anytime, anywhere has always been my favourite sort of live one to do with the guys in regards to the classics, and then really One Life, One Soul is up there as well. It's those 2 that have always been my favourite to do.
So it's magic and emotional for you as well as for the fans.
Absolutely, because there's such a connection with this song. It's no matter how many times we perform One Life, One Soul, it's everybody's involved. It's really everybody in the crowd is involved and sings along and feels it, and you can really feel it when I'm singing this song. And also because it's so, we do it in such a minimalistic way, just with a piano, and just kind of it's just so intimate with people, and I really feel it.
Okay, so what's immediately next for Gotthard at the moment? Tomorrow?
Tomorrow I have a day off.
Okay, finally, yes, party time.
So resting actually. I haven't been sleeping much with all this travelling around. But then we're still doing some more promotional touring at the moment. And then we start rehearsing very soon, because we have the launch party in Zurich, which is on the 7th of April. We have 11th of April. We have it. And so we've got a couple of warm-up shows before that, and and then we it'll be just sort of more rehearsing again, and sort of get ready for the festivals, and the wheel starts again.
Yeah. So the best is yet to come?
I think so.
Okay, great. So thanks so much, Nic,
cool,
for your time, and see you on the road.
Will do.
You're going to be in Milan in October, and Rome as well.
So, Rome, which I've actually never been to Rome, so I'm actually excited about that one. And last time we did Milan was actually one of my favourite shows. Actually, it was really fantastic vibes. So we're looking forward to that again. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Cheers.
And bang.
Bang.